on Hops. Joining me as always, I have...
I'm Alex.
Dan.
And we just got back from a huge, awesome beer festival.
We're back in the basement.
Blessedly so. It is so hot right now.
Fuck this heat.
So annoying. Great time for saisons and summer beers, but just
great time for beer festivals.
Fucking ridiculously hot overall. Yeah, the beer festival. So we were out in Cooperstown for Belgium Comes to Cooperstown, hosted by Ommegang, or BCTC. And, you know, one of the things about the festival, though, is it was so just ridiculously hot, but there's so much good beer going around, I didn't even notice.
Really? It was not that hot where we
were. It was in the 90s.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah, it was hot, but it was hot. It wasn't really hot, but it was just that sun beating down.
There was not much cloud coverage.
No
for
cloud
the
coverage.
festival.
Hot. It wasn't that windy.
But when we got to our first campsite, wind was blowing. It was great.
Like, you're talking about the day before.
Day before, and then even when as nighttime fell, like when we actually got under the tents and it got cooler, and it was that moment of high noon sun that was just fuck this. Why? And we had a little bit of misinformation from a lot of our friends who have gone to previous years, and nothing of what they said added up to any of what actually happened to us.
The epicness of the beer offering was told correctly. It was epic. As far as the organization of the festival,
holy shit.
No, it was way off.
Christ on a cracker with that group.
Public service announcement. If you're going to BCTC, you do not need to get there at 8 or 9 a.m.
No.
There will be no line. I mean, you can chill in the parking lot like we did. Just bust out some chairs.
Yep.
I read my newspaper. We had some beers.
Some beer.
Alex and I tried to get some hydration back into us because we realized we should have had those two coffee stouts that we both packed as our morning Joe.
7.5% beers.
I had the McKellar. You had the McKellar and that breakfast stout. You had the Trogs Java. Yep.
Yeah, you guys started big. I was still swinging the...
and we ended big, too. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah. I have a headache already.
Me and
so worth it.
Our other comrade, Tom, shout out Tom, we were swinging back the all-day IPAs, which is a good beer to start off the morning with. It's light, not overpowering. I didn't get sleepy at noon. So I'm not complaining about it.
I want to get back to the whole disorganization of this because...
You're like, focus. We were complaining about the organization.
I'm going to say... Okay, so there's a segue somewhere. I'll find it. I'll get there. But the amount of beer that we brought... I mean, we each brought something in a cooler. Like, we had 3 coolers in our car. We didn't need 3 coolers, but we ended up with 3 coolers. Disorganization on our part a little bit. But I went to our beer store, Aurora Brewworks, and the bartender looked at me...
Technically, your beer store.
Well, it's always been my beer store, but it's now also a place of employment for me.
There you go.
So starting soon, I will be behind the pine as my... Oh my god, I gotta call my boss now. Put it. pouring beer.
That is scary.
I know. He said that to me, and I was like, am I playing hockey? I feel like these are hockey terms. I'm like, okay.
True.
But I walked in, and I picked up 1 6-pack and a 22-ounce bottle, and I was like, you know what, I got 1 bottle, 22-ounce bottle in the back. I think should be good between, today and tomorrow. I already had stuff in the cooler. It was like some for the campfire the night before, something for when we're sitting around at night at the end. No, the bartender, our friend Greg, he got me to buy 2 more 6-packs of beer. And I'm like, delicious beer. I mean, I have no regrets about having it now. It's so unnecessary.
To be fair, so I guess it depends how you do it. We went pretty easy in the afternoon because we didn't want to wear ourselves out before. The festival itself goes from 3 to 7. You can start a little bit earlier if you have a VIP pass, but for the most part, 3 to 7. And we went easy in the afternoon, and some of us in our party went really hard during that 3 to 7, and they did not feel like drinking afterwards. So I guess if you don't go as hard, if you kind of keep it even, and you don't go as hard, and when 7 hits, you still want to go back and drink 2 or 3 or 7 more beers, you could do that. Well, it's just our style of doing BCTC that first year was not that way.
Yeah. Well, I think we brought semi-easy drinking beers. I forgot. You brought what was the beer you brought?
I brought 12th of Never from Lagunitas.
I had brought. Well, I'll get to what I brought. What did you bring out?
I had a couple all days, some Tangier, 12 Gates, West Coast IPA. I feel like there was something else in there.
I had the Jack's Abbey Oktoberfest in my cooler. I had the Dogfish Flesh and Blood, Blood Orange IPA. I had the XPA from Woodcock Brothers, which is phenomenal and local. And then I also had the Citradelic from New Belgium. And I had 2 bombers, and we never even touched the bombers. And
no, those are never even brought out.
Is it Noble King Farmhouse IPA, I think it is. Correct me, I could be wrong. And then I had a Vertical Epic 12, which is now resting back in its cellaring state, because there was no way by the end of this trip we were drinking that. It was so much fun. It was absolute blast. Like, I don't have any regrets, and no hangovers. No hangovers. That was the best part.
I was not hungover.
God bless vitamin water.
That was surprising.
The amount that we drank.
Yeah.
I'm really blown away that none of us were hungover.
Yeah, we all took it easy on Friday night. So the festival starts. It's on Saturday, and we went to a different campsite on Friday night, camped over, and we all took it pretty easy. So Saturday we woke up fine, and went to the festival on Saturday and Sunday. Just shockingly, no hangovers. Everyone got up. We went home. I mean, even on the way back, we stopped at Two Goats Brewery.
Yeah.
And pounded back a couple more beers.
Yep.
Which were awesome.
Yeah.
I recommend going out to Two Goats.
Gorgeous place. Watkins Glen, right down the lake.
The view is amazing.
Day. Like, we actually hit that point where, like, we really should get back on the road. But I think deep down, we're like, we would stay. We absolutely would
Honestly,
stay.
Honestly, if we didn't have, 2.5 hour drive ahead of us, I would have hung out for another couple hours.
Especially when I saw that they had
hanging
food
out
there,
for a couple.
which I didn't know.
The beef on wet?
Yeah, that looked pretty solid.
Next time.
Road trip. Two Goats.
We're taking off Monday, too.
If we do that, then we have to go to Watkins Glen and go to Roosterfish.
Perfect. I'm sold.
And we
Good
may
job.
go to Climbing Vines, too.
And we gotta go there too.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess.
Hopefully the damn NASCAR race won't be going on when we get there.
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, in honor of Ommegang and the festival that we went to out of BCTC, we decided to drink Ommegang beers on this episode. And the first one we're starting off with is Hennepin, which is a farmhouse saison. And one thing I haven't had this beer in a while. And one thing I forgot was it is higher than most saisons I drink. It's 7.7, I believe, ABV.
Is it really?
Yes, 7.7 ABV. Wow. Which it doesn't taste like, and it's still got that kind of refreshing...
Yeah, it's still dry enough.
Yeah, dry. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so good beer. I didn't have this over the weekend because there were so many other beers from so many other breweries.
I went through the list, and when I got back, because I wasn't able... When you're there, you really... Your cell signal is sketchy at best.
Oh, it's shit.
It really is.
It's awful.
And I was trying to plug everything in into Untapped, so like my thing just spiked, and I think I got a couple questionable comments from people like, "You're drinking all these now?" And then Untapped called me out like, "Dude, you just like locked in like 12 beers. Some of them are like 13%, and it's not even noon."
Oh, you got one of those warning messages?
Yeah, I got one of the warning messages, and I'm like, I'm not actually drinking them. I'm trying to put in data entry.
See, Untapped actually sends your information out to an intervention group when you get so many check-ins, so expect a knock on your door.
But it was...
So I just pulled up the style guidelines for Saison,
yeah,
and it says ABV 3.5 to 5% is considered a table Saison, 5% to 7% is considered a standard, and 7 to 9.5 is a super Saison.
Ooh, it's a super
All right,
Saison.
Hennepin. Super Saison. Good for you guys.
Saison.
Commercial examples, they do not have Hennepin on here.
But
they do have Boulevard Tank 7, which I love.
Yep. It's a good one.
It's a great beer. This is really nice, though.
Yeah, I agree. It's so I was over at a friend's house before this, and I had Namaste from Dogfish Head, which is refreshing, good outdoor beer, and we were sitting outside. That one clocks under 5%. I think I'm not really a huge fan of Namaste, but I think I'd prefer to drink this one from outside because it's still refreshing. Kind of has that citrus character going on to it, but I mean higher ABV. That's nice.
Always. Yeah, I like the that lemony. It almost comes across as lemongrass covered bread.
Okay.
I was just trying to picture that, and it looked monstrous.
Right?
Lemongrass covered bread? I'm literally picturing like a chia pet, just stabs of just lemongrass and a loaf of like Wonder Bread.
And then it comes alive and starts chasing you.
Like a weird green hedgehog.
Yeah. And it has a spin move and picks up coins. I'd play that video game.
Would you say it's supersonic?
It's a super Saisonic.
Ooh. I'm trying to think. Did you guys have any saisons while you're actually at BCTC? There was so much going on. And
what was that brewery? The Farmhouse Brewery. They had a saison. What the hell was in it? It was a wine barrel.
Oh, 6 Point. No, 6 Point had the wine barrel aged, but that wasn't a saison.
That wasn't a saison, but the Farmhouse one. I think I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, it was a wine barrel aged saison.
And I did not have this one
because they also what the hell did they have? They had what was the other saison they had? Because they had a triple with Brett.
Now, unfortunately for me, when we were at BCTC, I felt bad, but at the same time, there's so much going on. I don't know if you guys got to them, but I actually didn't drink anything of Ommegang's while there. And they had the biggest list. But every time I walked past them, I wanted to go over, but every time I looked at the list, everything that I wanted had already kicked. And I was like, boo.
No, I went by once, and it was that scenario. I did have Ommegang, but later in the day, after the festival, when we were down there, and I picked up a couple beers. So then I did, but that was more their standard offering. But one of the saisons I had, I just looked it up. It's from Trogs. It's one of their Scratch series, Scratch 244. It's a Belgian-style saison with apple. And that one I remember being amazing, partially because... So it was one of the times when I wasn't inside the tent. So like we mentioned earlier, sun beating down, super hot, wanted something refreshing. I think I just finished a stout. And I'm like, that was delicious, but this is bullshit. So I saw Trogs, I saw the saison, I tasted it. Normally I hate apple and beer. I mean, I like ciders, but the apple and beer flavor I hate. This one was amazing.
Was it like a tart apple or more of like a refreshing apple?
More of a refreshing apple.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't really tend towards the sour side or a tartness to it. Just more a refreshing apple with a well-balanced saison.
I was going to say, because
wonderful.
It's the Scratch series, so it's like a one-off batch that they do. And my first thing I thought of was, are they saying it's apple because they put apple in it, or are they saying it's apple because they had a fermentation issue?
They're in the tasting room. Someone's like, "Did you guys put apples in this?" And the brewers are like, "Yes."
Yeah. We forgot the cinnamon.
Did you not see? Were you out that day? Yeah, well, that beer was amazing. If they're looking for one of the Scratch series that are going to do a regular line, I'd drink that one all summer.
The one that I'm trying to remember, and I even have like one of their stickers, and I lost it somewhere, and I think one of you had it with me because you were standing next to me. It was towards the end of the night. There was those guys that did that Szechuan peppercorn beer.
Oh yeah.
And I could have sworn that was a saison, but I don't know the name of the brewery, and I could be wrong. But that was actually phenomenal. And the guy was like totally.
Actually, I tried that.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was. I just remember you saying Szechuan peppercorns.
Which I had the other one, and the guy's like, "Really? Come on, don't be like that. Like, come on, don't be a chicken." And he's egging me on, and I'm like, "Listen, as a food lover, I know what that Szechuan peppercorn can do to you. I don't trust what could possibly be in that cake." He's like, "It's not that bad." And then Chris, of course, comes over, I think, and just goes, mans up, throws his glass down, and goes, "I'll have some." And I'm like, I was going to get there, I just want to have the first one. And I went for it, he's like, "Yeah, that's right, you want it." And I'm like, why you got to be like that? Then I went back for seconds, he's like, Got him.
Yeah, that was it was Finback Brewery. Out of Queens, New York. It's a wit beer.
It is a wit.
Not a saison. Double session. Brews Szechuan peppercorns and ginger.
So good.
Yeah, that was really good. That worked out.
No heat, but just a little bit of like that.
Surprisingly, I expected more heat.
And the Szechuan peppercorn has a little bit of a bite to it, but it's more of like when you use it, it's to accent other chilies so that you can build heat, because that peppercorn will also give it will give you the sense of numbness, and you can use it as an anesthetic. So you'll see it in a lot of usually Asian dishes, and so when I've had them before, it's usually followed by a kick, and that was what I didn't want in my beer at the end of the night. So
yeah, you have so many flavors going on in your mouth, and then suddenly something starts getting in there and kicking around.
Numbness, and I'm just like, this is horrible. Why would you do this to me?
That's fair. I'm glad you were so aware at the end of this 4-hour journey.
Oh, well, that changed throughout after that moment, because one beer did us in horribly, because we decided,
I quite enjoyed that experience.
Well, it's delicious.
I followed through with the original plan.
So I enjoyed every sip of that beer.
Yes. At one point in the night, I remember the look on both your faces when I told you what they had it there. And I guess we should actually say the name of the beer was the Stone Farking Woot Stout that came out.
Woot Stout?
Yep. This year for San Diego Comic-Con by Stone. And I was wandering around and I kind of lost the group, and I'm just passing the corner and I see Stone there, and I wasn't thinking about going to Stone because I've had so much of their beers before or didn't know what they would, and I see out of the corner of my eye Woot Stout, and I'm like, that's right, it's out, it's got to be out now, and I beelined it, and I'm like, Woot, Woot. And I came walking around, I turn around, I see Alex and Chris, and I'm like, Stone has Woot Stout. And their eyes kind of just went wide for a little bit. And they're like, where? And they just beelined it after me.
Yeah. And we had gotten cigars earlier there. They had a booth where they did...
Hand-rolled?
Yeah, hand-rolled. Yeah. It was pretty good, too. But they had those, and we see this. It's the end of the night. We're like, perfect. Have an amazing stout to take back to the campsite, sit back, and have a cigar with. So the plan, it's a good plan. But what we did
failed.
We came up with the plan after we already got the Woot Stout and we're drinking it. So we had the first one. Then we're like, let's go back. If they're about to close up, we'll ask for a big draw because it's the end of the festival, whatever. And the guy came through. They give you 8-ounce tulip glasses, and they give you big pours usually all around during the festival. This guy filled mine up to the top.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I had a pretty big help. Well, we all had pretty big help.
We asked for, it's like, you're leaving. You want to give us a full pour? And he's like, well, I don't see anything.
Yeah. He's like, it makes the keg lighter for me.
We did that there are some beers there that I actually just went back in line. And it's like, just top it off. Like, I'm like, I'm gonna just either keep coming back in line multiple times. And he's like, yeah, but I'm not supposed. I'm like, it's either that or you just keep filling me up 4 times. I'm like, what do you want?
Yeah,
like,
I think I went back to Juice Bomb 4 times.
The Sloop Juice Bomb, which I almost jumped into the van of when we were walking in. Yeah, when we were walking in. The guys from Sloop were trying to check in, and I saw Sloop, and I went, Sloop! And I started walking over, and they're looking at me, and I'm just like, I just want the juice bomb. And the guy goes, if you help us carry this stuff in, we'll give you some. And I'm like, really? And he's like, no, I really can't do that because I started to take stuff. And he's like, no, put that down.
Yeah, that guy did not realize who he was talking to.
Don't give me that opportunity. Like, I will carry those 3 kegs on my back. Just give me the beer.
That Sloop booth was pretty strategically placed too, because it was on the inside between the 2 big tents, so it was a good rally point. You're walking around, kind of doing. I mostly did a figure 8 around the 2 tents, and that was a good one in the middle to hit up, grab a juice bomb.
And pretty much right next to them was Goose Island.
Yep.
And they served the 2014 and 15. Bourbon County.
Yep. They had timed releases.
Yeah.
And we were there for both of them.
4 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Not many people when we got there at 4 for the 15, and then for the 14 there was a line.
Yeah.
And
Dan and I cut.
No. We did not. Let's be fair here. Fair to us, we did not cut that line. We bypassed that line because by that time people were drunk. Now let me finish. Let me finish that because cutting implies rudeness. People were too drunk to realize that the line, as soon as the line going up to the tent, that's where the confusion hit. And nobody actually knew that there was a line. So Alex and I just went right to the front, and there was no line, but people were just standing thinking that there was.
Plus,
so we walked in, walked out, and we were done.
I was just like, at that point, I looked at it, and I'm like, is this the line? Fuck that. I'm going up there to the front because no one's standing at the second person who's serving. So I walked right up to the second guy and just, Bourbon County.
Well,
my head just tilted at Alex and I just followed.
Every booth has 2 lines because they have at least 2 taps there.
Yep.
Just because you go up to one tap doesn't mean that's the line for that tap. And that's people know this among all the other booths. And it applies here too. The people see the Bourbon County on the right side, they line up on the right side. But you can go to the left side. That other guy has nothing going on.
Right. Yeah, he's just chilling, and in between pours, he's just going to pour people the same damn beer.
Yeah.
Loophole. Like I said, bypass. I did not cut someone.
Loophole. Yep. So that's
telling yourself, man.
Well. I feel no guilt.
Neither do I. I got my Bourbon County.
We'll get back to BCTC in a moment, but first let's go ahead and pour the next beer.
All right.
The next beer we have going here is... we are back. Back from our commercial break. I hope everyone enjoyed that commercial break.
Because you won't even hear it.
Because you won't even hear it. We cut out the commercials for you, our listeners, because we love you.
For this free show.
Yeah, so we moved on to the Rare Voss Amber Ale. And this is a little bit light. Well, maybe not later in taste, but later in ABV. It's 6.5% alcohol by volume. And I just want to say, we mentioned this a little bit earlier when we got the beer out, but the rebranding and the new labels that Ommegang has, I'm really digging this Rare Voss one. It looks pretty badass. It's like a modern wolf head or something. A couple doves on it. You can see a lot.
Yeah, it does look nice.
Yeah. I like it. Some breweries go in directions that just like, why change? I used to love looking for that label out in the store and grabbing it. But this is a good change. I like it.
There's only...
As long as the beers don't change, because...
That's true.
All their beers are very, very good. I absolutely love this beer. From the first time I had it, I was in Rochester, and I had it at Dinosaur Barbecue in Rochester. And I just remember being like, you know what, Rare Voss, I don't know if I've ever had that one. Got a glass and just fell in love with it.
Nice.
It goes great with barbecue.
Now, how soon were you into your craft beer love affair? Was this like earlier on and you haven't had that many beers yet? Or were you kind of experienced?
It was earlier on.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was definitely earlier on. And now, I mean, years later, after having it for the first time and having it many times since, I still absolutely love this beer. I remember when we were looking at the shelf, picking out the beers for this episode, I even said that. I'm like, I absolutely love this beer. It has to be in the episode.
Nice.
It's been a while since I've had actually Ommegang's beer for myself, and I'm trying to think of the last one I had, and I think the last one was probably one of their Game of Thrones series. And
yeah, same for me.
Truth be told, not a big fan of the Ommegang series. It's always been very bubbly. Something that's like overcarbonated to me. I don't know.
You know, a lot of their beers come across that way.
They do, but there was something. I think the last one just didn't jive with me. Like the first one I had, actually, I can't remember the name. If I look it up, it would help. But that was actually quite good. But I'm trying to think of the first Ommegang beer that I ever had, and I know we have it here, and I believe it was the Three Philosophers.
Yeah, that's the first one I had.
That was the first one I ever had, too.
I remember I got it just because it was high ABV. Well, no. I should say. So it was when I was early into craft beer, so I was looking at ABV, and I'm like, this is big. But it also said Three Philosophers. And when I was first getting into craft beer, I was a little bit out of college too. And I had a degree in philosophy in college. So I'm like, oh, this beer speaks to me on a metaphysical level. And it'll get me drunk. So I bought it, and it was delicious.
I think you were talking about the labeling, and I know that they've changed the labeling for the Three Philosophers. I think that's the only one I don't really dig. It's I think what is it, black? It's like a black brownish green label, and I kind of miss that old like classic Three Philosophers white label with like the black lettering and I think red across it. And I was like, I kind of liked it. It just seemed classy to me when I used to see that bottle, and not so mainstream. Like I remember going to like early.
You're not very classy after a bomber of it, though.
No, no. We'll get to a story about that one. I will leave names out, and I will tell a tale of what happens when a man drinks a bomber of Three Philosophers.
This is the new one with the silhouette.
I can't see your phone from here.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, I like that actually.
I like it too.
Yeah, especially since the silhouette has one shadow in the other shadow's head, which is kind of interesting. And then there's just that third philosopher in the background, chilling on his own.
Keep going. I'm watching you, microphone.
Is the tech acting up on you again?
It had a little glitch. It had a little spurt there, and I was like, and then it caught up to itself. I just watched it bump itself back into place. I was like, all right, I'm watching you.
Oh, technology.
Rule number 1: microphone.
Don't be
a
dick.
Much like humanity, it's a good rule to live by.
Exactly.
Microphone.
Well, I just literally looked at my computer, and this little blurb goes across the screen. It goes, restart for updates. And I'm like, I don't want updates now. I don't want you to restart right now because you screw everything up when you do that. So we're not going to do this. And I feel like my computer's just going to go, well, I'm going to glitch on you until you do the updates.
Digital technology, you cruel and fickle mistress.
Fuck you, Windows.
I was going to say bitch, but...
Yeah, sure, you can go that route.
We should probably get the explicit rating on our
We have to...
Yeah,
I can't... Although, I guess it's true that nobody monitors that stuff.
Obviously.
We would have gotten a citation by now.
We are talking about, like, beer and alcohol. I would just say, hey, 21 and up. There you go. We've
That's
covered
true.
that rating.
Might be a certain expectation. If you're talking about subject matter, which is legally prohibited for people under 21, it's kind of assumed that you're going to use some adult words once in a while.
Yeah, especially when you're just sitting around drinking.
Yeah.
You know? So if you don't like it, fuck you.
As of today, if you're not...
There we go.
If you were born after August 11th of 1995, you cannot listen to this podcast.
Man, that's some bartender math right there. You calculated that quick.
I gotta get ready. Start IDing people.
It makes me feel so old when I ID people at 42. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
I see their ID and I'm just like, God damn it, 95 and you're fucking legal.
The fact that people born in the 90s in general can drink is just weird to me. That's like, I associate people born in the 90s as like youngins.
I'm looking forward to the
Teenagers
first
or
person I get
something.
to turn away. I'm just like, yeah, this is
looking
the
forward
I'm looking
to it.
forward. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
You know
What
what?
are you doing?
I was looking forward to it when I was at 42 one time, and these two girls came up to the bar, and they were talking to one of the barbacks, and I'm like, there's no way in hell these girls are of age. And I checked both of their IDs, and they were both 95. They were like 2-3 months into 21, and then I looked at the barback, and he was like, yeah, they graduated a year after me. And I'm like, all right, well, you're like 23, I know, so fuck.
Well, that's not a story. You didn't have to kick them out. But I was just like,
Right.
oh, you were looking forward to getting to kick them out.
Right, well, not
Okay.
necessarily kick them out, but just say, I'm sorry, I can't serve you, you're not of age. Because I haven't been able to.
Have you gotten a fake ID yet?
No, everything's been New York State.
Oh, okay. Really? I'd expected you would have gotten one Hawaii so far. There's, whatever
Hawaii,
licenses that no one
Vermont,
would know what it looks like.
Montana. Just feeling for that little raised edge over the photo. Like, okay, come on, really? I'm like, this doesn't even look like you.
You also have to think of the people that come into 42 North. They're not
that's a
necessarily
good
the
You get
young crowd.
You get an older crowd there.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an older crowd, but it's people who enjoy beer. They're not. It's not the young kids who are coming in to get hammered.
That's
at
a
bar.
good point about craft beer in general.
Keeps sticks out.
Yeah, if someone's under 21, they have a fake ID, they're trying to get drunk. You don't go to craft. Like, first of all, they're not going to know what's going on.
Right.
Beer is an acquired taste.
Yep.
So yeah, there's kind of an entry level to the kind of people who associate themselves with craft beer and at craft beer places. So
Right.
just another reason to drink craft beer and go to craft beer bars.
Yep.
I have a coworker,
Keep the riff
and
raff out.
That's right.
he's in college still, and one of his like soccer coaches came into our store, and they were talking, and I overhear the word keg, and I'm like, oh, keg of what? What are you guys getting? And I look at the older gentleman, I can see him like, he'll just get this vibe. I'm like, he's up for an IPA or something different. But he's got a bunch of younger guys that are probably going to be there they're like, we're college students, we just want cheap beer. And I'm like, come on, expand your horizon a little bit. He's like, not when we want to get drunk. And I'm like, for shame on you.
You can get drunk.
I'm like, you can get
flavor.
Drunk, but like, God
and
damn.
craft beer is higher in alcohol, so you get drunk quicker. And it tastes good.
Learn from a veteran, man.
Stupid college kids.
We were all there once. We were all there. We didn't know any better. All that beer was just used for wonderful games. Although I have some great stories of beer pong and good times.
Oh God, yeah.
That's true. You can. I mean, of course, you can play beer pong with certain craft beer and even certain later craft beer that would make sense to play it with. But you still feel bad a little bit about treating the craft beer.
Someone put a lot of work into this.
Beer pong with an imperial stout before.
Well, that's just reckless.
It was retarded. I should never have done that.
Did you honor it? You know,
No,
a ball sinks. You chugged that.
I kept drinking it. The bottle it was a 12-ounce bottle, so it wasn't a bomber.
Okay.
But I mean, the bottle was done when the game was done.
Holy crap!
It hurt.
I thought I was bad
a little
playing.
while later.
Yeah, that's
I thought I was bad when I played with a bottle of spiced rum. Ugh.
That is much worse. What do you mean you think you thought you were bad? You played beer pong. You played liquor pong, basically.
Yeah, we played liquor pong.
Wow.
After we played beer pong.
How did that feel?
I woke up face down in my bar and vomiting, and it was actually a bottle of Kraken my friend gave me. And I think after one round, I was like, barbecue, nope. And then I just hear somebody yelling out from the corner, release the Kraken! As I'm just puking over the deck side.
Well, at least somebody yelled it.
Yes.
If that was a missed opportunity, I would have been sad. So just think, before that happened, you were probably thinking to yourself, this is the greatest idea ever.
Hey.
And then afterwards, you're probably thinking, this was the worst idea
I woke
ever.
up soaking wet in a lawn, because I think it rained that night, with a twisted ankle. Stumbled back to my bar, fell over, and that was it. I was like, why did I do that?
Hey, at least you got undercover.
So.
Positive.
Yeah.
We positive.
We take them where we can get them. All right, I just finished my Hennepins. My Rare Boss. Finished my Hennepin a while ago. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one.
After this commercial break.
All right, everyone. Welcome back from that commercial break. And
we already had a little laugh.
You son of a bitch. The next beer that we have here from Ommegang is Rosetta. And this is a special moment for me because this is the first time I've ever had this beer. We're actually going down in ABV so far. This one's only 5.6.
And then we're going to skyrocket right past the end.
Yeah, don't worry. We're going to break this trend very soon. But for right now, a little bit lighter fruit beer. It's a cherry beer. And I got to say, for the first time having this, I'm pretty impressed so far.
Yeah, it's got like nice tart cherry, like a tart cherry juice to it. And then there's almost like a woody character as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. With the tartness, I could see it being too sweet too easily with cherries.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the nice things about cherry, the actual fruit, not the artificial flavor, is that they are tart as well as sweet. And this beer captures that pretty well, which I'm glad. Because there are some fruit beers out there, not necessarily cherry, but maybe just like fruit in general, citrus, raspberry, stuff like that you can tell it's kind of artificial. And because of that, it doesn't capture the balance that the fruit has.
Right. This beer is actually brewed by, I believe it's pronounced Leafman's, and it's brewed and bottled for Ommegang. But speaking of Leafman's, Dan and I had a cherry beer by them at BCTC that was the complete opposite of this, and it was total sweet cherries.
This has almost like an amber color. The other one was almost apple red. It was
it was like a Swedish fish red.
Yeah.
And it was good, But I could not have more than a tasting glass of that.
On a hot day,
sweet.
ice cold, like, I can totally see that appealing to
Now, see, normally
someone.
when I hear a beer like that, now I didn't get to this booth either, so I haven't had this. But when I hear about a beer like that, I think cough syrup. Is that what it was like?
No.
It didn't have the artificial cherry to it. It tasted like just a nice cherry, like a nice sweet cherry.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was the Fruit Teas by them, and it was outstanding. Like, but I completely agree. It's like after a while, this is a little much.
After one glass, I was like, you know what, that was amazing, and I wish I had more to try at a different time.
Great dessert beer.
Yeah, oh god, yeah.
Great dessert beer.
Drink that with like a piece of chocolate cake.
Nice dark chocolate pairing, some raspberries. Nice Valentine's Day beer.
I'm normally not like so dessert. You know, I'm kind of into desserts, but normally that's not what I look forward to. I look forward to the main course. But you just described an amazing sounding dessert to me. Some of that beer with a rich chocolate cake.
You know, that's one of
sounds
my
pretty
favorite
solid.
desserts ever. Just a nice big piece of chocolate cake and the framboise.
Really?
Oh,
So,
there we
yeah.
go.
I'm reading the description.
Absolutely love it.
I'm reading the description on Untapped, and they're saying a pale red color. As far as I remember, that not of the fruities that we had in BCTC. That was not a pale red color that I saw. But also,
vibrant.
they're calling it a sparkling appetizer beer.
Both of those things are the opposite of
what I would when I would want it. But they did get the flavors right. It's strawberries, raspberries, black cherries, elderberries, and blueberries, and it was definitely all there.
Yeah. That's delicious. I want more.
Although, yet they end it with...
Let's go back right now.
They end it with the statement, what more could you want for the final touch to a night out? If it's the appetizer, it's the start, not the ending.
Yeah.
All right, they got to get better people for that copy.
Shame on you.
That's not great.
But they do recommend try it on the rocks. So
Yeah, I would try that.
I would absolutely do that.
I bet it would
Really?
dilute a little bit of the sweetness.
Yeah.
I bet that would be good.
Do you remember what the ABV of it was?
I want to say it was lower.
Okay, so it's not like they just did some big strong, like 15%
I could be
monster.
wrong. I mean, this was what?
3.8.
What?
Yeah.
It's like an lambic.
Oh, damn.
It's a lambic.
Just not
It'd be a great beer for...
sour, tart.
I don't want to say lady, but someone who might be more into wine or something fruitier, or just not wanting something... Because there's no booze in that beer.
If
There was
someone's-
nothing.
Oh, no.
If someone's
not at all.
first instinct is to go to a wine cooler, like our good friend Mike, shout out Mike, he might appreciate this beer.
Shout out, Mike. Hope you're listening to this and drinking your wine.
We'll see. Yeah, if he's angry at me the next time we see him, I'll know he listens to this show.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Our friend Mike was just in Muskoka, and the big thing he loves out there, and I will admit they are delicious, is this kind of like their version of Mike's Hard Lemonade. It's called Vex, and it's specifically high it's 11% alcohol by volume. But like he sent us a picture the one day, and he's like, "Yep, we just finished this case. I'm drunk." I'm like, "Well, no shit."
Yep, that's gonna happen. It just showed he was doing vacation right.
Oh yeah. And we've been there. There's no other way to go about doing that vacation there in Muskoka.
No, it's a solid drinking spot. Well, I should say relaxing drinking spot. There are no bars around.
Every day started with a Bloody Mary and ended with a beer.
That's one of the things that I wouldn't mind trying to incorporate into BCTC is bring some Bloody Mary stuff, either for a Sunday morning or like if we camp there the night before, there's part of the VIP, or do it under campsite like we did this past year.
Well, we've got some plans.
Wake
for next
up
year.
Saturday morning, do some Bloody Mary, start off that way.
Let's see what I think. If we,
I'll stick with a beer.
Really?
I'd rather have a coffee stout.
I
how
love
about
Bloody Mary so much.
See, I'm not a big fan of Bloody Marys.
how about a beer mosa, Alex?
I would do a beer mosa. Beer mosas are good.
That's
That peach lambic from what's it called?
Peach lemons. I've done those.
Yeah, with
But,
orange juice. Beautiful.
Actually, you can make it dry if you add champagne to it, but still, if you use the not the La Fin du Monde from Unibrew, the Blanche de Chambly, you don't need any champagne in there. It's so good. That is so good in the morning.
Fuck you, champagne. You're obsolete.
Pretty much.
We found a beer to replace you.
We had our brunch with friends several months ago, and I brought beer, and the girls just looked at me oddly, like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna make this mimosa better by adding beer."
And they were like, "No, Dan, it can't be done."
And then they tasted it, and they're like, "It's good."
Yeah, good stuff. So yeah, that kind of well, at least now that we've scoped it out, BCTC, I mean, incorporating more stuff like that, either Bloody Marys or beer mosas or something.
A way to cook breakfast.
Yes.
Give me a kitchen.
Yes, breakfast.
Although I really don't need a kitchen.
No. So just
we had
on the topic,
over an open coals.
Okay. No. The toast was like worst case type of breakfast.
Yeah, but that was really good.
It was really good.
Really good toast.
But on the topic of kitchens, we must bring up the fact that when we got to the campsite on Friday night before the festival, Dan cooked a fucking steak dinner that was better than most steak dinners you get in an actual restaurant. And I mean, just go to our Instagram, Brain on Hops. We have a picture of it posted there.
It's up on
those
Facebook
steaks
as well.
grilling. Yeah, it's on our Facebook account too. It was delicious. And not only were there steaks, there were sides. And Dan, you go through the sides because I don't even remember exactly.
I ended up doing roasted mushrooms, and a little bit of Worcestershire and garlic and thyme, marinated asparagus, which is always fantastic on the grill, and then I did roasted duck fat potatoes. Because, I have just a container of rendered duck fat in my fridge.
Sure. I mean,
so
who
I'm
doesn't?
like, duck fat, potatoes, hot coals, we're going to make this work. And then I had the steaks all set to go, and I just took the spices that I needed with me, threw them in my cooler, and it was easy and neat and clean, and it was fantastic. And like you said, I love cooking that way. It's something so rustic and primal, and yet then I throw it down on a plate. And like I said, it comes out better than if you go into an actual goddamn restaurant.
And everything was right on the campfire. Just like throw down. They had a part of a grate there in the campsite. Brought our own grate, and that's it. And then just the fire that you build up.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think the first 15 minutes of eating, I think the only words out of our mouth were, "Oh my god, this is amazing." Oh my god.
You've done something right with your food when no one speaks.
No one's speaking, and if they do, it's like, oh my god.
One of my favorite parts was, so Dan does the steaks first, and then he sets them aside to rest while he finishes up with the vegetables, and they're resting on the table right next to Alex. And Alex is Tom's with us, and the three of us are trying to talk while Dan's cooking, and Alex just keeps staring at those steaks, like mouth hanging open. And we had to be careful. He wasn't just gonna dive in.
I kept looking over at us. I'm like, "You gonna make it there, buddy?" I'm like, "Do you just want the steak now?" I'm like.
To be fair, if they were right next to me, I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah, you didn't smell them. I was sitting there, and all I could smell was these freaking steaks and the asparagus. I was just like, I want it.
That's true. I did have a bit of a buffer there.
Now imagine what I can do if I actually have a kitchen next time.
Ooh, yeah. Let's bring a kitchen.
I looked into BCTC for next year, and the campsite we stayed at the first night, there's actually a full-blown house that you can rent on that campground, and it's actually not that expensive. And I'm like, oh, we're so there. I'm like, wake up in the morning, we can do the Bloody Marys, we can, hang out for another day or two. And I'm like, yes, I want to do this. I'm like, you know what? I would be perfectly happy getting the cabin, going to the festival, not having to worry about setting up my tent, and then being done and not keep going, and then going back and doing my own thing with the people and my friends that came with. Like, I understand.
Do you have to drive to this house?
Well, it's the place we stayed at the campground. Okay. So we were 5 miles away from Brewery Ommegang, which was not that bad. And but by the time we were all done, I don't even remember to seeing a concert. I don't remember. I passed out for the fireworks. I was like, I'm so tired.
You're laying on your back, eating spanakopita off of your stomach.
I was like, I need food.
I really should post that picture.
Do not post that picture. I was like, I just need food.
I mean, to be fair, when I came over, you looked very happy, laying on the ground, eating spanakopita.
Oh my god, their spanakopita was so fucking good. It was just salty, flaky dough of cheese and spinach, and I'm like...
I was impressed by the food trucks and food booths that they had set up there.
Going till midnight, and I was just like, you know what? I had a chicken hero and I ate 3 spanakopita. I was like, and I think that's the reason why I woke up the next morning feeling fantastic.
I had 3 of those pulled pork sandwiches. They
did amazing work.
Yeah, that was good.
Those were some good pulled pork sandwiches.
Yeah, they gave you a lot on it. They had the homemade sauces there.
Yeah.
My sauces are better. I challenge them to a sauce off.
True that. All right, let's end big. Let's go on to the next beer. But before that, a word from our sponsors. Welcome back, everyone. We just poured our last beer here, and I'm excited about this one. Three Philosophers, we mentioned earlier. Here's our spike in ABV coming in at 9.7%, and just absolutely delicious. I love this beer.
I agree. I think it's I absolutely love that they add a bit of creek to it to get that cherry flavor in there.
A bit of creek?
Yeah, Belgian creek. It's actually Leafman's Creek.
Like water?
No, creek as in with a K, as in a cherry lambic.
Oh.
It says it right in the bottle.
I've never gotten to the bottle. My eyes started getting blurry by that time. I'll trust your knowledge, though. Okay, so they add in a bit of this other beer from Leafman's to this. Is that where it gets its kind of rose or red hue?
I don't know about that, because you can get that color out of a quad normally. But it is a phenomenal beer. It's boozy. It's that the little bit of cherry in there. It's just got fruitiness and caramel and just
Yeah, I do love that in the. It's so subtle, but even if you don't recognize the cherry being there, you still recognize the kind of sweetness there, kind of helping to balance everything out, like the booziness you mentioned.
Yeah.
The Belgian flavors coming through. So yeah, excellent beer. Well, one thing that I wanted to go over, or rather do a variation of, normally we do a segment called What I've Been Drinking. Well, this week it seems a bit silly because we just got back from BCTC, so we've been drinking shit tons of beer. So instead, we're going to do What I've Been Drinking BCTC edition. And for that, we're going to go through everything that, well, we're going to look at everything we've been drinking and then kind of say the favorite beers that we had during that time. Or favorite beer, if there was one particular that actually stood out for you. Dan, go ahead. What's your favorite beer from BCTC?
Thanks, Chris. As I take a drink, you come at me. Favorite beer from BCTC?
Come at me, bro.
Yeah. Favorite beer from BCTC? I gotta go with earlier. Well, about an hour in, we were at one of the tents, and one of my personal favorites is Firestone Walker. I absolutely love this brewery. I've gotten several of their anniversary bottles, and I've been fortunate enough to get a couple of like the Tsukaba for my brother and things like that. And they had the Sticky Monkey on tap, and one of our friends came running over. He goes, "Sticky Monkey," and
this was Evan. Shout out Evan.
Shout
out Evan and Jill. They were troopers with their pack there.
I just plowed through the crowd, and I didn't even realize Jill was behind me. She's like, "No, I'm just going to follow him. He's leading a path."
That was smart, because when you say plow, you're not using a metaphor. You were just kind of pushing people out of the way.
No, I was like, parting the seas.
Much as a snow plow pushes the snow out of the way.
I was like, just get the fuck out of my way. I'm trying to get somewhere. Don't dawdle. I'm like, I know you want to stand. I know you want to drink. I'm like, but there's places to do it. Stand off to the side a little bit. Let the traffic flow. It's like, but no, after a while, there's just no courtesy anymore, and I'm just saying, fuck you, and I'm shoving you. I'm going to shove you. Oh, I'm sorry, I spilled some beer on you. Oh, no.
And this was a solid 15 minutes to the festival.
Get out of my way.
You're right, though. It was worth a bit of rudeness to get to, because that Sticky Monkey was delicious.
Sometimes you can't
I
be polite.
refilled on that a couple times.
What happened for me was I went and I got it, and I was hoping he would give me like a little bit of a bigger pour. I was like, and I looked at it, and then I looked at Jill's, and she kept getting these phenomenal pours from and I'm like, well, no, and I honestly wondered why, but I will not say what I'm hoping was not true.
And this is a small girl, and she's getting at least 5 or 6 ounces on each pour, which was above the average.
It was like an 8-ounce glass, the nice tulip glass that they gave you, but she was getting good sized pours to the point where we would get to the next tasting that we'd wanted to try. She wasn't able to finish them, and then she would dump it into either my glass or Evan's glass. She's like, "I want to try this one. Take this." And then I would get yelled at by brewers because I'd be like, "Well, I'm trying to drink their beer now," and I would just swig it back this ounce of beer, and then they'd look at me and go, "Don't you dare do that with our beer." And I'm like, I don't want to. I just keep getting things I don't want.
It's like, I already finished my beer. Yeah. Someone put more in it.
It was my choice. That. I do want to say, though, there was one point where Tom, Evan, Jill, and I were kind of grouped together and going around to the booths. And we devised a new method where two of us would go to some open booths in an area, come back, and then we just kind of do not a bottle share, but a glass share. Because they were pouring so much that it was a good amount, but if you want to try a lot, you're not going to be able to drink 5 ounces of every beer there.
I think that's what I lost.
So then we'd share it around. We'd each get an ounce and a half, be able to taste it, and then we'd move on. So that was actually a pretty solid system. We came up with that about 2.5 hours in.
I think that's when I found Alex and Jeremy, our friend Jeremy and Adam, and we were the exact opposite. We went with each other, and we were just going,
that and you each got your own huge pour.
Just, yes, more. That one, now there.
When Devin actually had a break, her and I went around to a few places, and that's exactly what we did. We each got something different, and then we just kept swapping.
Yep, there you go. It's if you're going to go to BCTC, I recommend that strategy.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a solid way to go. If someone's being a bit skimpy, sure, everybody get their own. But for the most part, if you share someone's pour...
That, or if you go for something like, the Bourbon County. I want my own glass.
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm not gonna
touching my glass.
I don't care how big it is, I'm going to drink all that.
Even though the Woot Stout did me in, you ain't touching my glass. I'm drinking it all.
And it was there when you woke up.
No, it wasn't. I drank it all.
What? I thought you put it in in your chair. Or next to your chair or something. Or was that just the glass itself?
I finished it, and then I went to the tent.
Oh.
The glass itself was sitting in my chair.
Your nap makes so much more sense to me now. I thought you came back to the beer.
What I did was that for the Sticky Monkey, though, went up, and to finish my story, I was slightly disappointed in my pour, but I was like, I want more of this. So I literally left the line, let people go get it. But the line was so short at this time that no one was there. So I just got back in line, and then I didn't finish the beer, and I looked at him, and I'm just like, can you just top it off? Just top it off. He's like, I gotta go. I was like, there's nobody behind me. Just give me the beer. And he's like, shh. And so then I get this bigger pour, and I'm like, yes. And I just kind of wandered off into a corner. I'm like, slowly sipping. I'm like, this is all I wanted.
You see him crouched down in a corner. My precious.
Talking to himself.
I was
my sticky monkey.
I was sticky from Sticky Monkey.
I'm not
Anyways.
even angry at that. All right, so Sticky Monkey, excellent choice. Alex, what was your favorite or favorites of the festival?
I kind of had a top 3 because they were all, it was a blur of a 4-hour period. But it was Sticky Monkey was one of the best beers that I had there. I thought it was out of this world. But right next to them was a brewery out of Virginia, I believe, called Hardywood. And they had a Bourbon Grand Cru, I think it was. And it was a quad aged in bourbon barrels. And that was outstanding.
Yeah.
That was a really good one.
That was really good.
Yeah. I drank a lot of Juice Bomb from Sloop, and then there was Hopshire Farms, which is in the Finger Lakes region, but they had a ginger. What was it? A wheat ale or?
Yeah, it was something lighter. Along those lines.
Right. It reminded me of a different take on their Behave ale, because they have their standard ale is a honey blonde ale, which is delicious. It's sessionable, and it's a beautiful beer, made with a lot of honey. But it reminded me of that. But the ginger character it was gorgeous. It was perfect on that hot day, and it was refreshing after the stouts and the quads that we were drinking and the Sticky Monkey. It was perfect.
If you need to become a little bit more unsticky,
yeah,
it's a good beer to wind down with. My favorite, I'd have to. So the Sticky Monkey and the Bourbon Crew from Hardywood, the Sticky Monkey from Firestone, those are both phenomenal. If I had a top three, they'd be in the top three. The other one rounding it out would be the Woot Stout. So it was the newest vintage. Stone does Woot Stout every year. They started in 2013, and it's a combination of Fark.com and Will Wheaton and Stone and collab, and it's just phenomenal. I loved it, especially this experience. So getting my own glass of it and then getting another glass of it to take back and have the cigar with and just chill out after drinking so much. That was really relaxing. So not only the beer itself, but the experience of having the beer was pretty solid. So yeah, I'd have to go with Woot Stout from Stone Brewing.
Nice. I'd have to say, I did have my cigar.
Oh, not
the following day.
Yeah. Okay. When we got back, right? You didn't have it.
Yeah. When I finally got home, I sat by the pool and I had
question:
a beer.
Did you have? Okay, so you did have a beer.
Yeah,
with it.
I did have a beer with it.
What beer?
Actually, it was a 12 Gates West Coast IPA.
Oh, well, IPA, not a dark beer.
Well, it was hot out. I was by the pool, and I was just like, stout it's not really doing it for me right now. That's normally what I'd go with. But, yeah, it just wasn't, I wasn't feeling it. I was feeling that IPA.
True. Good call. All right. Well, that about wraps everything up for us. Thank you so much for listening to our BCTC special episode we have for you. As always, check out our website, yourbrainonhops.com. Check us out on Facebook, Your Brain on Hops. Also, Facebook and Instagram. Instagram, Twitter, Brain on Hops. But on Facebook and Instagram, we have a bunch of photos from BCTC. And we're still finding photos on our phones, so we'll be posting those throughout the next coming weeks.
I was so sad I had such a lack of photos, but that's because of shitty self-service, and I was just like, by the time I was like, I'm not bothering. Just screw my phone. I think I threw it in the tent. I was like, I'm going to drink.
Yeah.
I'll rely on other people's photos.
You did when people talk about unplugging, Dan did unplug for this. Yes. He focused on the beer. He had his eye on the prize. For that, we salute you.
My phone was in airplane mode most of the day that day.
Yeah, just
kind of I need to conserve battery, but I still want to take pictures.
Not a bad way to go. So yeah, check us out on social media, on our website. Thank you so much for listening.
If you're looking for that drunk lay, go to tap that ass right now today.